gloves. Quick. 3, 2, 1. Matthew was born, oh my God, it was the best day of our lives. He was magnificent. Everyone used to stop the pram. He had these amazing eyebrows and he'd smile at everyone going by. And
we didn't think there was anything unusual. It certainly didn't seem there was. But at a point, he seemed to change and go backwards, like regress.
And it was like some switch, just, he stopped looking, lost all eye contact, stopped eating, stopped everything. So you go to doctors and everyone said he's fine, but I knew he wasn't. And we eventually got into the matter, and as soon as they started showing us what autism was, we kind of went, oh yeah, he does that. And so it felt like a death. It was horrendous. The whole diagnosis was just absolutely horrendous. He was a really happy child and he had autism, but it was very manageable. We brought him everywhere. We did everything with him. To me, it was when he was around 9. The twins were born. Life changed in this house, and he definitely changed. And then once he hit 14 and 15, the hormones kicked in, and life was very difficult.
It was changing, yeah, fairly dramatically. You know, Matthew was getting very hard to manage. You know, so he was, you know, he's much more physically able and running away and so on.
It's self-injurious behaviour, it's vomiting, Matthew went through a stage of beating the face off himself, where we ended up in A&E. We couldn't stop him, and like we have the twins then, and one of the lads crying in one corner saying, "Mammy, please stop him from hitting himself." And like all the experts kind of look at Matthew and go, wow, it's the first I've kind of seen of all the different issues he has.
With our neighbours who really just could see that it wasn't going as well as it had gone, so to speak, and that was maybe help needed, you know, and we had our other 3 children, so as much and as happy as they looked, and you know, we tried our best, you know, they were suffering as all kids would in that situations.
Myself and Kev be the type of people like, oh no, thank you, no, we're grand. And they kind of gave us no choice then. They went, no, we're helping.
It was just basically just to give us a break, and it just happened with some friends who were doing a triathlon at the time, a mini triathlon. And they just said, you know, well, why don't we just raise some funds and we'll create a trust. And it kind of happened, you know, just like that, very quickly. And from there came this... The following year came a cycle, and then we've had 2 very successful cycles, and another one coming this year.
It was just amazing, and Liam and Paul organised the whole thing, Liam O'Byrne and Paul Power, and the organisation that went into it was unreal, and it was a huge success.
This is a real community-backed trust, so to speak. It's people from, mostly I suppose, people from Clontarf and the environs around that area.
I think we've nearly 70 cyclists this year, which is absolutely incredible. We're completely overwhelmed by the whole situation, you know. We have to pinch ourselves sometimes, but like that, for people like myself and Kev who never accepted help, we realise we need it, and we're accepting it with both hands now. I mean, having the carers has changed our lives completely. They've become part of the family. They've been so good. We have Pauline. She takes him out twice a week, brings him for a drive. Then we have Sinead. And then we have Al, who does a few nights as well, or sometimes he'll do a day. He'll bring him to the Phoenix Park. And so in all these open areas where he can run around, because health and safety wise, Matthew's like a toddler. He'll run straight out into the road in front of a car. So we have the electric gate where, you know, even if any of us are bringing him out, we can get him into the garden. It doesn't matter if he runs around the garden, we'll get him into the car eventually. Then we can open the gate and off we go, you know. So that's been huge for us, that gate, massive. Like this time 2 years ago, Matthew wasn't even as severe as he is now. Things have changed the last 2 years. He's got so much stronger.
You might have noticed graduation signs up. He's finished with that school. Look into the future. Our hopes are that Matthew will be placed in a service for adults.
I don't know what's going to happen. We don't know whether he'll be in this new service in September, October, November. We don't know. I mean, somebody, when Matthew was really small, I used to go, so what happens? And I remember him saying, you cannot think about that now. You have to take one day at a time. And it was probably the best advice. You know, Matthew had autism, was very happy, and we were coping quite well. But if I had a thought what was ahead of us, I don't think we would have been able to get through it, you know. I think that's a big thing as well. You really have to take one day at a time.